is a bit of a side question, but I always take the opportunity to have conversations about certain things that I've even wondered myself, because for a while, I definitely also had that, that tunnel vision about things. Like, there's nothing that's going to get in the way of what I'm trying to do, right? Like I may have little small things going on in other areas of my life, but when it came down to it, if I had to choose between me working on my degree and getting what I need done and those whatever little small things, I'm going to choose what I need to get done. But also in having that mindset, I sacrificed my health sometimes. And like in moments where I probably did need to sit down and decompress or sit down and really like think through, well, what just happened to me? I didn't. Did you experience any of that?
I did for sure. I had this thing where I would always, I didn't take time to look up, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Or to really savor my experience, if you will. It was just like, get up, go grind, get up, go grind, to the point to where like now I would work out, 3-4 times a week, eat right, like for the most part, but my mental wasn't always in line, if that makes sense. I can say that there were some ways that I definitely neglected myself mentally and even spiritually at times, just because I was so, of course I had external things that I was fighting with when it came to people and the geographic difference and the culture shock and, all that. But I wasn't giving myself enough time to work from the inside out, if that makes sense. I was expiring more than I was being inspired. So I will say I can't agree with you on that. I definitely had some challenges keeping my mental health in check, especially during grad school. I can't remember that for sure.
Yeah, and that's something that so my first year, and I've told this story a number of times on here, but my first year was horrible. I mean, not in the sense of, like I said, right? Like I made sure that I got the work done that I needed to get done. And, I did what I needed to do, but mentally and like physically, like it really tore me down. Like though like I always went out, I was this bubbly person, my imposter syndrome was on 100. My like anxiety on 100, everything else, like everything inner was just on 100. And after I got into my second year, going into third year, started to get more comfortable with the program, I decided that I was never going to go back to that place. And I was like, I'm going to be here as a student, but I'm also still going to maintain who I am as a person, because being a student is not the only aspect, a part of me. But also in that time, I started to realize that is an extra burden to care, like to have to think about that. Whereas like you were saying earlier, you have some of these students where they're 4th year, 5th year generations. And so they're just here enjoying their time. Or, it's like right for them to just get a degree. They don't have any other thoughts behind them getting their degree besides, well, my mom got one, my dad got one, I'm going to get one too. Yep. So that was the game-changing moment for me, to realizing that I don't have to only focus on the work. I can think about myself too in this process.
Yeah. Can I, just to be transparent, I was kind of on the farther end of on the spectrum. Like, whereas some people convert their character to fit to adapt, they will sacrifice who they are just for the sake of adaptation. Mm-hmm. Me, I was a little bit on the opposite end, where I'm like, look, I'm coming in here. I'm not going to be like y'all. Like, I'm going to be me. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I was kind of aggressive. And one thing that I noticed was that I was almost casting the same judgment on others that I thought that they were casting on me. You know, it really took a minute, and I think I was causing more internal stress on myself than what I needed to because I was thinking like that. And so I will say this. I did run into some prejudice things or some racial things being in a predominantly white environment. I will say that. And it wasn't it was very slick and passive aggressive. And so with that being, you can't address it because it's so like, you know, I ain't stupid. Like I just peeped what you did and you said like I'm, you know, but on the other end, it were people who were like genuinely nice, but because I was receiving that energy from other places, I was casting it on those who actually were genuine. You know, and I had to self-assess. I had to self-assess and be like, yo, you're all like, you know, what's the saying when they say, you know, when you have vengeance, you become like you become like your enemy almost.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't forgive or you know, when we have a vengeful spirit, if you will, you know, you almost become like your enemy. And it convicted me, you know, it really convicted me. I was like, yo, you got to start giving everybody a clean slate, you know, give them the same clean slate that you would want. And then my time became a little bit easier. And I did recognize those who I thought they were. And I also became very close friends with those who weren't who I thought they were. And I kind of my second year, I decided to soak in my experience, if you will, like going out more and doing things. Because first year I was just a hermit and I was just like, y'all over there, I'm over here. And, you know, but it got easier as time progressed.
Well, I'm definitely glad to hear that because there's some people who come in and never get to experience. And, you know, I think that going to school is, you know, you are there to get an education, right? That is your priority at that time. But I also still believe that you can still have yourself as a priority and you can still enjoy your experience while getting the most out of it. Yep. But yeah, I want to get back to the conversation of grind.